Wolverine is one of the most OP characters in all of Marvel fiction because his power set is so unbelievably cracked. He's got an insane healing factor that allows him to pretty much regenerate from anything, like headshots, being ripped in half by big green men, drowning, and a literal nuke that reduced him to just his metal skeleton. Now, due to having his adamantium skeleton, it works in his favor indefinitely, because he's been able to take on the likes of the Hulk to a standstill plenty of times, only ever receiving concussions at best, as his adamantium skeleton makes him utterly invincible to any villain he comes across. Well, except for Magneto, of course. He's also so fast that he's been able to strike at Spider-Man before his spider sense could even react, which might be due to poor writing, but I'll go on. Wolverine's also an exceptional fighter that came to a standstill with the likes of Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, and even Captain America, which is a pretty crazy feat if I'm going to be real with you. Now, I could go on and on about Wolverine's feats for hours, but I think I've made my point pretty clear on how OP Wolverine truly is. And I just want to add that the superheroes in the Marvel Universe are insanely lucky that he's a good guy, because if the shoe was on the other foot, it'd mean ruin to the Marvel Universe's heroes. I mean, it'd literally be impossible to stand a chance against someone like Wolverine unless the opponent has something like a healing factor as well, like Deadpool for instance. As Wolverine can literally never get hurt, never get tired, or ever lose track of you once he's got your scent, cause he smells really, really, really far. Oh, right. Wolverine being a villain in Marvel Comics would mean every other hero would be fucked. And to show you just how truly deadly Wolverine would be, we're going to talk about what would happen if the world's deadliest killing machine was mind controlled. Setting the stage, it's been over half a year since Wolverine has been mind controlled, and he's been forced to assassinate one great hero after another, and now only a handful of superpowered beings are left to stop him. God, I feel so bad for Logan. He's like a magnet for assholes with mind controlling capabilities that just take advantage of him, that only ever see Wolverine as a weapon and not an actual human being. Now, as this story begins, Nick Fury explains to the few superpowered beings left standing that they're about to enact Operation Wolverine, because Wolverine has killed far too many people and needs to be brought down permanently. Cap then turns around to say that Invisible Woman, Magneto, and Kitty Pryde have all been handpicked for this mission. However, Magneto says that they were handpicked because they are the only ones left alive. Cap then tells Magneto to fall in line unless he'd like to turn out like the other heroes, as he explains that Wolverine's havoc all started 6 months ago with his first victim, Spider-Man. At first, Spider-Man seemed to have the upper hand, webbing him up and putting the animal to a stop. But whenever a hero like Spider-Man would have Wolverine cornered, Hydra would teleport him right behind them, giving Wolverine just enough of an upper hand to kill the heroes. Eventually, after killing so many heroes, Wolverine was sent to the White House to kill the Commander-in-Chief, where he'd come across Iron Fist and Luke Cage. They'd put up a hell of a fight and even saved the president, but the sacrifice was too great, revealing that Cap fought alongside other heroes that day and was mutilated, but still left with enough will to take on Wolverine. Now, their plan is to arrive at a secluded island to make their final stand against Wolverine, inside of a bunker by using each of their abilities in specific ways to render Wolverine defenseless. They have the advantage of Wolverine being unable to teleport, leaving him only one point of entry. And once he's inside, Kitty will use her powers to seal Wolverine inside the bunker, after which Invisible Woman will trap Wolverine in a force field, leaving only Magneto to disrupt the electromagnetic field surrounding the island so that Wolverine can't teleport out in case things get too hairy. After briefing each member of the team, Cap adds that he'll be the bait for Wolverine because Wolverine will want to finish the job he started. Cut to New York, Wolverine happens to be fighting Moon Knight on a full moon, which causes him a little trouble. But when it comes to endurance, Wolverine's got Moon Knight beat as he knocks him down a few pegs, adding that Moon Knight will be spared for now, but old Captain America won't be getting the same treatment very soon. Seconds later, Wolverine teleports to the island and the heroes rush to their positions. Magneto primes the EMP, Kitty phases through the bunker's walls but doesn't see Wolverine, and while Invisible Woman waits for the signal to trap Wolverine, claws burst through Invisible Woman's feet as she screams out in pain. As Wolverine rises from the bunker grate, he continues to leave his claws lodged inside her feet. Invisible Woman, desperate to stay alive, tries to stop Wolverine from breathing. However, Wolverine gives himself a tracheotomy, and despite Invisible Woman's best efforts to stop Wolverine, he ends up stabbing his claws through her head, leading Wolverine to go after his next target, Captain America, complimenting his wheels, asking Cap if he'd like to play a little game of murder. murder ball. Wolverine then lunges towards Captain America, going in for the kill, but Cap has more than enough fight left in him as he tells Magneto to keep the EMP up. This all comes to a head with Magneto suspending Wolverine in the air, ignoring Cap's orders to maintain the EMP, which leads to Magneto's downfall as Wolverine teleports behind Magneto, stabbing him. After killing Magneto, Wolverine looks through his blood-soaked claws at Cap, asking him what Plan B is. But before Wolverine can sink his claws into Cap, Kitty manages to phase his body at the very last second. Kitty tries to convince Cap to retreat, but Cap refuses to back down, pushing her hand away as he lands a solid right hook against Wolverine, yelling that it all ends here and now. But all this does is piss off Wolverine, leading him to lunge towards Cap, stabbing his claws right through his skull as he says to say hi to Bucky for me, leaving just Kitty the only superhero left standing to take on Wolverine as she begs for the real Logan to fight the mind control. But despite her best efforts, Wolverine doesn't listen and instead says that if she manages to escape, whenever she eats or sleeps, he'll be there to tuck her in. And even if she escapes this bunker, she'll have nowhere to hide on the island. With tears streaming down Kitty's eyes, she says that she always looked up to him and always strived to be like him, but now all he's like is a rabid animal. A murderer with no cause, who's killed friends and comrades alike for unjust people, inspiring a new world of terror and mayhem, creating a world without hope. Finally realizing that the Logan Kitty knew is gone forever, she finally knows what she has to do, as she phases her hand through Wolverine's head, making it solid, scrambling Wolverine's head for good, sacrificing her hand in the process. As Kitty falls back bleeding out, she hopes that if S.H.I.E.L.D. can somehow fix him, that he doesn't have to remember everything he's done, or even what she did to him, as everything eventually fades to black. We then cut to the aftermath of the massacre with Nick Fury and Elektra, where they end up collecting Wolverine's body, surprised that Kitty Pryde had it in her to stop Wolverine, and all she had to do was just let go, ending the story. When I read the story, I thought that it was pretty crazy how Wolverine was capable of wiping out most of the Marvel roster, and I just knew that I had to make a video about it, because just seeing the level of brutality in the way that Wolverine kills his friends is utterly insane, especially how it's not like he's simply mind-controlled and can't think for himself. When he kills several of these heroes, Wolverine is fully aware of what he's doing, especially when he says things like "say hi to Bucky for me" after turning Cap's head into a shish kebab. It's so unbelievably raw, and it's one of my favorite instances of Wolverine going ham. So I hope y'all like the story, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.